This channel is sponsored by Pro Football Focus. NFL, college, and fantasy data for every player, every play, every game. Visit ProFootballFocus.com to learn more. Welcome back to the New Orleans Saints Prospect Spotlight, where we take a look at players in the upcoming draft, we scout them, and then we recreate them in NCAA 14 so I can provide you guys with some game tape about them. This is the interior defenders, which are defensive tackles and 3-4 defensive ends. After this, we have 3 more, which will be coming to you guys in the next few days, because my hope is to do a mock draft for you guys a week from today, or a week from Wednesday, depending on what I'm doing. So, either way, let's jump right into it. The number 1 player for interior defenders is David Snead, a projected second-round pick out of Clemson. He's 6'4", 294 at 23 years old. He can play DT, he can play 3-4 end, and he is the best pass-rushing defensive tackle or interior defender in this class. I mean, he just absolutely mauls people. He goes in, he's great versus the run, he's great in pass-rushing situations. Whatever you ask of him, he can get it done. As you can just see, he's pushing back offensive linemen like it's absolutely nothing. And Snead is just a really, really talented player. In terms of overall talent, he is my 15th best player in this draft. So for a projected second-round pick, I think that's really awesome. As you can see, just watch him shove the center all the way back into Cortez Meeks, forcing that incompletion. Next up, we have Cason Justice, another second-round projected player out of UCLA, 6'1", 291 at 22 years old, and he's more of a run stopper. He's what people would call a glass eater. He doesn't remind me so much of Aaron Donald as David Snead did, but he reminds me more of probably a Malik Jackson type, where he can line up the middle, potentially at nose, but probably more at a DT spot, and he can just kind of plow his way forward, take on double teams, and create havoc on the interior. So, Cason Justice, a little bit small in terms of height, maybe even more of a Mike Daniels role than a Malik Jackson, but still, he's a very talented player. Next up, we have Roy McAllister out of USC, 6'2", 292, and he is a projected first-round pick, my 3rd best interior defender. He is a primarily run-stopping interior defender who's great at working in the open field when he gets around that edge if he can't get to somebody. As you can see, kind of dove at Noble as he was losing his balance, but he still is able to get to the quarterback. He's a force up the middle, and another player who you just kind of look at and say, well, this is a guy who might not generate a ton of pass rush for you, but he's an instinctive player who can get out into space and make some plays like you see right there on the screen. And he is someone who also works through double teams pretty well, another strong player. So something to keep in mind when watching someone of his caliber, because yeah, he is very aggressive as well. As you can see, he gets an offside penalty there. Next up, we have LeVaris Whiting out of Texas A&M, 6'1", 289 at 24 years old, another projected first-round pick. He's my number 4 interior defender, mainly because of age. I also think that he's a little bit less capable as a pass rusher and as a run stopper in comparison to those coming before him. He's still a good player, and he did a really good job with Texas A&M this season, but he's not someone who you expect to win all of those one-on-ones, or rather two-on-one situations, maybe not even all the one-on-ones. A little bit small in terms of height and weight, and he doesn't seem to have the acceleration and drive that someone like Cason Justice does at this point. He can make some plays, but again, the age difference between him and Justice is a huge factor. Next up, we have my 5th best interior defender, a projected 3rd-round pick, Trayvon Macklin out of Miami. 6'4", 305 at 22 years old. He projects best as a 3-4 defensive end, but he played pretty much everywhere on that defensive line for Miami this season. Played nose tackle, played DT, played defensive end, played even a little bit of outside linebacker, a big guy to be playing in space. But he's a primary run stopper who can also get to the quarterback. A relentless motor up the middle is important to have, and he is definitely a player who profiles with that. So Trayvon Macklin, not one of my favorite players, but he is a good one at a position where there are a lot of potential pass rushers and potential good players. I think he does make into the top 5 of about the 30. While he's not someone who I would peg, I don't think I gave him a first round grade, but he's someone who probably is a mid-second rounder. Yeah, I have him as the 59th best prospect in this draft. So that's still something. Next up, we have Jacky Monroe out of Texas, 6'2", 294. Monroe is basically a pure pass rusher up the middle, a projected 7th round pick. He's raw in terms of run stopping, but he's a power bull rusher up the middle. Just watch as he faced Houston as well this season, and he just plowed his way back into the backfield repeatedly, working against guards and working against centers as well. While he can get stonewalled a little bit, that's why he's a projected 7th round pick. I think his motor and his pass rush skills are definitely a major factor. Right, reminds me a lot of Ndici, the defensive tackle selected by the Cardinals in the 2016 NFL draft. He's a very good player who profiles more as a 3rd down pass rusher than a 3 down defensive lineman. So he's my 7th best interior defender because of that pass rushing ability. And it's something to keep in mind. Jacky Monroe will work his way to the quarterback every time he's on the field, either early or a little bit later. Next up, we have CJ Pigg, a projected 5th round pick out of Memphis. He's my 10th best interior defender at 6'6", 316, and 22 years old. He is a run stopper up the middle, and he's a bit raw, but he's a big-bodied guy who loves to push the pile and just loves to get his hands dirty. He's not afraid of making a play. He's not afraid of taking on multiple defenders and trying to work through them. And he knows that his role is not so much to get to the quarterback or to the pass rush or to the running back at all times, but it's to create lanes and alleys for those around him. So Pigg is somebody who is one of those dirty working defensive tackles that don't get a lot of credit, but he's someone who on tape you'll notice is really being forceful even though he's not getting the big plays per se at the point of attack. And also he can throw in a spin move, an occasional rip move. So either way, I hope you guys enjoyed. The next prospect spotlight will be on running backs. If you take a look at the big board though, I have every position scouted and I have my complete big board finished. Every player from 1 to 224. So take a look at that. Take a look at the secondary big board to see by position breakdown for each round. And that's pretty much it. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm Moonlightswami and I'll be talking to you guys later. Peace out, Franchise Nation.